بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dr. Anthony and members of the board and chairman of the U.S.-Arab Council on Relations, thank you very much for the invitation to speak to this distinguished audience. We have a saying in Arabic, ladies and gentlemen, ما أشبه اليوم بالأمس, meaning how often today resembles yesterday. In the age of strategic confusion, populism, and polarization, to talk about Saudi-US relationship is a challenge. For more than 70 years, Saudi Arabia and the United States have engaged in a special relationship, an alliance that served the national interests throughout those 70 years of both countries. This important relationship, though never without strains, survived and flourished under 13 US presidents and 6 Saudi kings. They recognized the mutual benefits for both countries' interests. The relationship, ladies and gentlemen, was always thicker than water, to coin a phrase. The crisis of the oil embargo of 1973 and the tragic day of 9/11 changed the factors impacting the reciprocal benefits of that relationship. However, despite the intense media onslaught on the kingdom by instant experts, politicians, think tanks, and pundits, the relationship recovered and even broadened. Nowadays, this relationship is once again threatened. The tragic and unjustified crime that took place in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, that took the life of Jamal Khashoggi, God bless his soul, is the theme of today's onslaught and demonization of Saudi Arabia in the same fashion as the previous crises. The intensity and gleefulness of it is equally unfair and malicious. Subjecting the future of our relationship to this issue is not healthy at all. Saudi Arabia is committed to bring to justice those responsible for Jamal Khashoggi's murder and whoever else failed in upholding the law. Justice will run its course. From this podium, ladies and gentlemen, I have said many times that our relationship is too big to fail. I believe that it will survive this crisis. Reasoning together and sifting facts from fiction is the imperative. It is not a choice. To avoid drifting towards alienation and suspicion, we must work genuinely to preserve our mutual trust. When talking about this relationship, ladies and gentlemen, I am not only talking about the plethora of bilateral aspects: diplomacy, oil, trade, arms, investments, finance, education, training, and people to people. I'm also talking about the long years of our two countries working together on issues of world peace, Middle East peace, security and stability of the world economy, stability of oil prices and markets, confronting forces of radicalism and terrorism, regionally and internationally. On many occasions during those long years, Saudi Arabia paid a high price for its image in the Arab world by cooperating with American policy. We bore that cost because we believed in the value of our friendship with you. Today, however, the world is changing and transforming. The pillars that held up our strategic relationship are challenged, but the importance of Saudi Arabia has not changed. The kingdom is the center of the Islamic world, towards which 1.5 billion worshippers turn to pray 5 times a day. Regionally and internationally, the kingdom plays a strategically important role to achieve peace and prosperity by working with the United States and other allies to end conflicts all over the Middle East. The kingdom provides more than 4% per capita in aid to developing and poor countries. Only yesterday, the kingdom forgave $6 billion worth in debt to those poor countries. We are an asset to our friends, not a burden. And while reforming and transforming, our fight against the forces of darkness continues. We also stand up to the hegemonic ambitions of the Iranian leadership, which, as we are witnessing in Denmark's actions, never ceases to export its terrorist activities. We still value our strategic partnership with the United States and hope to sustain it. I hope that the United States continues to reciprocate in kind. Ladies and gentlemen, the word values has been bandied about frequently during this time by our detractors to try to distance us from each other. One value that we hold dearly is attributed to the Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, which says that people in glass houses should not cast stones. Countries that have tortured and incarcerated innocent people and that launched a war that killed many thousands of people based on fabricated information should be humble in their regard to others. And countries that have persecuted and disappeared journalists and other individuals should not pose as champions of free speech. Another value we uphold and act upon is that the killing of an innocent person is like the killing of all of humanity. This is stated in the Quran. The killing of Jamal Khashoggi is like killing all of humanity. Innocent, unarmed Palestinian children are slaughtered every day by the Israeli army. Ms. Hassan referred to persons Israelis killed many years ago without recourse to justice. And yet, I do not see the same media frenzy, the demand to bring the perpetrators and whoever ordered them to kill those children to justice. So where do we go from here? My hope is that we will remain friends and seek to strengthen our relationship, not break it. Ladies and gentlemen, innocence is equally the quality of the 11 Jewish worshippers who were massacred in their house of worship in Pittsburgh. Humanity has been killed many times over by their murder. Let us pause for a moment of silence in wishing all the innocent victims God's mercy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.